What is up, everybody? Back again with another review video, and today's review is over the DC Multiverse McFarlane Collector Edition Superman from the Superman movie. Although this platinum version is not based off of the original Superman movie, it is based off of Superman 3, just to get that clear and out of the way. Now this one is extremely tough to track down. Luckily, I went with my brother for a little hunt of stuff he collects, and I happened to find mine not only 2.5 hours away, because I had to go an hour beyond that to finally get it, and right at 6 a.m. when the store opened, aka Walmart. So it definitely was not an easy one to track down, which is probably why it's super hard to get in the aftermarket, as in the price being super expensive. But I'm glad to track this guy down, and it caused me to actually watch the original Superman films, which, as me, for being a younger person, it's kind of tough to watch those movies since it is so, you don't have all the basic technology and edits that you do nowadays. So definitely was interesting to see and watch, but I did eventually finish them all, and thanks to this figure, I was able to get it done, and it motivated me as well. Anyways, enough with the talk. There is the platinum sticker here at the bottom. As you can see, just in the front right here, 12 plus, and then 22 moving parts here at the top, which is a part of all McFarlane figures. As you can see, a decent variety of what's offered here, so that's very nice, especially the alternate head. I think that fits pretty well for an evil Superman, although it's just really the same original one in darker clothing with kind of like a shadow, which I'll get into further. At least it should have a shadow, since that's basically what the evil Superman had. And then here on the side, you can see it is number 25 in the collector edition line. And you got Superman the movie, but as I mentioned, it is from Superman 3 and not the original one, but it is a great platinum chase variant, and it makes sense, and pretty much is the only option they had for a variant of this figure. But then here on the back, you got just a original image of him from the flag. I think it's pretty nice and pretty cool, since honestly I feel like the older Superman, after watching it, was more how he should have been to begin with compared to Cavill. And then here on the side, once again, just Superman there, and then at the bottom, number 25 as well, and then the DC Multiverse logo. And here is the actual barcode for those who may be searching in store, and the other information that is needed to track him down. Now, let's get into the actual figure. Starting off here, you actually do get an actual flight stand. So congrats to McFarlane, you finally made a great decision. I never understood why you do not include an actual flight stand in the actual chance you get with a flying character. It makes no sense, especially for being a collector edition figure. Nevertheless, an actual platinum, I think that should always be included, and potentially down the line, it would be nice maybe to get a flight stand and a regular stand in the same actual package, because I just feel like some of us may not have all the space in the world. I really like the flight stands, great addition, but for those who are not able to actually, I guess, fit them in their collection using the actual flight stand, would be nice to get a regular stand, because even though there is a foot peg right here, I feel like it just looks weird when you have the actual flying part of the stand behind it. So that's just my few opinions there, but I'm really glad to actually get a flight stand. So enough blabbering there. Let's get onto the more interesting stuff, unless you happen to find that interesting. Good for you. I guess this isn't too interesting, so I kind of just lied, but here is the actual card. I've always liked the actual just chrome look here on the side. Really makes it look nice and presentable, and more, I guess, appealing in general. Really gives it that premium look. And here's a little read up for those who feel like reading up on it. Moving on, now we're going to go through all the different hands, because there is a bunch of different hands. Luckily in the package, they were all pretty much grouped together and have one for the right and one for the left. So you're going to get this hand, kind of a holding hand, I guess you can say, one for the right and one for the left. As you can see, not much going on, just kind of just some Obviously, hand texturing, make it look realistic. So there it is. The next pair of hands is basically 2 flight hands. So here you go, one for the right, one for the left as well. Nice details and inclusion there to make it have a realistic look and presence. So you can always switch it off if you feel like doing so. And the next thing, you're gonna get kind of a open hand. I guess these are 2 different hands, so I'll start with this one. This is going to be for the left hand. So kind of like another holding hand, but outstretched fingers. There you go. Same texturing and detail as well. I have to say these hands feel a little more slick than normal, so I don't know. They probably went all crazy with the clear coat or whatever they do. Polish. You can kind of see all the reflections, so I guess that has something to do with it. But definitely went a little crazy there, so they are pretty slick. Here's another kind of grippy hand, a little more open or more space to hold things. They're potentially thicker, or in this case potentially choke the other Superman, since this is the evil Superman. The next one is a little pointer finger for the actual right hand, as you can see. It's nice detailing going on here. And then I forgot exactly what this is supposed to be. I can't remember if this is actually kryptonite or if it is something else. My guess would be kryptonite, but I can't exactly remember. So there it is. And just him holding it. You can't remove it or take it off unless you want to potentially break it. That's up to you. But this is another hand and the actual last hand to go over. So a nice inclusion. I just can't remember what that's supposed to be. I'm assuming kryptonite, like I said, but not exactly sure. Now this extra head, I definitely say it is a very nicely done head. Has all the detailing you will need. Trying to really focus, not sure if it's going to focus all the way, but you can see the red eyes here look very, very nice, and definitely a great choice for an evil Superman. Pretty sure the regular version has the same alternate head, but I could be wrong. Whenever I actually look into that one closer, which I do have, I'll determine it. But I think this is a better choice for an evil Superman. And then you also do have the shadow going on, which he has when he does turn evil. So definitely matches the actual head on the figure already. I have to say they did a nice texturing here for the hair. It's not too glossy, doesn't look wet and kind of fake looking. It's just more of a matte finish there, and I think it looks fantastic. Overall, a really great additional head. I really like the paint application on this extra head. Now let's get into the more interesting part, and the reason you're all here is for the actual figure. Now looking closer into the actual figure, kind of a head right here that has the expression of evil. Not sure, can't remember exactly if it's the same as the regular version, but definitely when you look at that head, you do get kind of like an evil look in general, just the way he's looking at you, and he does have the shadow. Now I know I can kind of see it on mine. I'm not sure if it'll show up on camera here, but there is some like white powder look going, but it's not as extreme as I've seen others have. But yeah, it definitely looks like he went to the local bakery and ate all the powdered donuts for his attempt of being evil. But definitely here, I think it looks pretty nice. The white's not super obvious, but the more I kind of look at it and the more I talk about it and focus, it looks like it's a little more obvious, and it probably shows up to be more obvious on camera. So I guess don't try to look at it too hard. I don't know what they're trying to do there, but it is what it is. And definitely the same nice texturing going on with the actual hair here, not too glossy, and it has that matte look and finish. And just the only difference between the regular and here the platinum version is actually, since I haven't looked over the regular, you can kind of see like a little worn look. You can kind of see some white going around with some, I guess, scratches kind of to give it a more worn look on the actual suit. So that is also interesting to see compared to just being a regular dark blue or more dark blue than the regular release. Then, as you can see, there's kind of some black here going on around the actual knees too. Like I said, not too sure how well it'll show up on camera. I think that's a little more obvious there, as you can see it. And here on the diaper as well, it's a little more obvious with some black going on. So I really like how they went to further detail to really add to this figure and really give it that more evil look. And here on the boots, you can see it as well. Kind of a shiny paint job going up, and then kind of goes to the regular maroon or dark red, whatever. I guess I kind of say it's brown too, just because it is a very dark red, but also looks like it's kind of mixed with brown. So that is nice to see. And the cape does seem to match decently well with the diaper, although I would say definitely is a little darker on the back. On the inside here, it is a little lighter, but that's just going to come when it comes to the actual material. And I think in the movie, obviously, it's not going to be 100% as well. So it's just cool to see, though, the extra detail they went into with the paint application and just really making everything darker. So I actually really like this platinum in general. And then, yes, the S is here on the back for those who may be wondering. And it is a wired cape. Now let's get into the actual articulation. So when it comes to the head here, side to side, no issue. It does seem to be a little more loose, but not to the point where it's just going to fly freely side to side. But it is a little more loose than normal, and it kind of tightens up when you get to, I guess, 90 degrees, or him looking 90 degrees from both sides. Now let's see if it, yeah, it gets slightly more tighter, but that is something to consider. His head could potentially pop off if you play with it so much, but that may just be something with my copy. And it can go down and around, up and around as well. And you already saw it can go 360. So there it is. Very, very nice here when it comes to articulation. Now when it comes to the actual T-pose, no issue there. Perfectly fine. And it's not, the arms aren't super loose, so that's good to see. 360, no issue. Kind of went outward there. That's my bad. And it seems like these flaps are doing their job decently well, so that's also a good thing that I personally like seeing, instead of exposing the, I guess, interior of the actual figure. And it does have a bicep cut, as you can see, side to side, no issue. When it comes to the actual elbow, I think it can do more than this. Let me try to get it up. There you go. So it's perfectly all the way there. So that is very nice. And I feel like the elbow extends more than normal. I don't know, that could just be because I haven't reviewed personally some figures for a long time, but I don't remember it opening up that much. So there it is. It may just be because his arms seem to be a little longer than normal. So there it is. And something that I personally don't really like, I wish they made this part more of a skin tone, so therefore it matched the hand. It didn't look like it was just a hand resting on, I don't know, just like, it just looks out of place to me. Like, so that's something that I think they should have done, is just made that skin tone, so therefore it actually looked like the arm was going underneath the sleeve. So that's just a personal preference. But the hand can do a 360, as you can see. Then when it comes to going up, go up this much and go down this much. So all the way there, very nice to see. Now when it comes to the actual torso here, can do in backward crunch, or whatever you want to call it, about that much. Forward crunch, this much. So not like a crazy amount there. And then upper torso can go side to side, so you can see. And then move around, swivel. There you go, no issue. And good that it's not exposed here underneath, so I like seeing that there. Then here, the waist can swivel as well. And when it comes to the actual splits, the diaper is very well done. I feel like it's not restricting the legs too much. It's not too loose as well, so I feel like it is not really limiting the articulation, because I would expect this is the furthest any of us would actually extend the legs. Plus, I mean, no man is really going to do the splits like that. So yeah, I don't think you'll ever pose it using the splits. So that's good to see, though. At least it can go that far, and I think that's all you need personally for me. And when it comes to the actual knee here, okay, that's something I don't like seeing, is I kind of was pushing there on the knee, and then this part came from underneath the diaper. So kind of gotta put that back into place. So that's something to consider as well. And when it comes to the knee, here you go, all the way. Then extending it back out, going to the ankle here, no issue, side to side. Go up about this much, go down about that much. You can rotate it downward and rotate it upward, as you can see. And then when it comes to toe articulation, should not be an issue, but we shall see. Seems like it's trying to fight me here. Okay, doesn't really seem like it wants to go up. Let me try the other one. Yeah, so I don't know, they seem to be really tight. That may just be something that you need to use hot water on, unfortunately. So that's just kind of crazy to see. It could be due to the paint application, but I don't want to force it and potentially break it while I'm recording. So pretty much there, I'm surprised the toe articulation is not better, but it is something that potentially needs to be warmed up. And then here, going to try to get the actual leg underneath the diaper, which is unfortunate. So that's a flaw, as you can see. Now, with that being said, let me get into my final thoughts on this figure. Just to show off, here he is with the alternate head and what he looks like. Fits on pretty well. It was not hard to interchange, so that's nice to see. And I think it does look decently well, although potentially could have made the eyes a little more dark so it didn't look like it was just plopped on there and looked more realistic to match the actual figure. When it comes to my final thoughts on this figure, I think they did a very nice job really just giving it that premium feel, the platinum feel, like all platinum figures should, with the extra paint detail. I really like the black wash going on, the areas where the actual suit looks worn and beat up, and really just give that more kind of evil presence as it should, with it being Evil Superman. I like all the extra hands as well. I think it's nice to have that many different choices. The extra head, I like everything as well, how it actually matches the hair on the actual original figure. And something I did realize on the alternate head is actually it's a little more curled with the evil eyes, and then compared to the head on the actual figure, it is not really a curl, it's more of just multiple hairs that are sticking down and kind of partially curled but not exactly. So that's a little attention to detail there and give it more variation compared to the regular release. And just with the head detail, I think the head is fantastic. Like I said, the matte hair doesn't look like to be any super glossy areas to give it kind of like a more plastic look. So that's very nice, gives it more premium feel as well. Now, as I said, I don't know what's going on with the white on the actual head with the kind of powdered donut look. I mean, maybe he robbed some kids with their powdered donuts, and that was his evil attempt at really just trying to get back at the world. Who knows? Now, when it comes to articulation, I thought it was pretty decent, but I still am struggling when you take it out of the box to get the actual toes to actually bend. So that is something different compared to pretty much every other McFarlane figure. Usually toe articulation is something not to worry about. Could just be my copy, but that is something to consider. And I also did not like how the fact that the right leg partially popped out from underneath the diaper. So that's also something to look at and to consider as well. And those are pretty much the only negatives I have. I really like the inclusion of the flight stand, but that should not be something that I am surprised about. That should be just something typical when it comes to Superman figures or any figure that flies in general. Pretty much, if I were to consider the effort to find this figure, is it worth it at the end of the day? I would say it definitely is. If I were to rate this figure, just considering articulation, the paint scheme, and everything in general, I'd probably have to go with a 9.6 out of 10. After watching the films, I feel like this is a great choice at the end of the day for a platinum chase, and pretty much the only, I guess, option at a platinum chase alternate version compared to the regular. So that's my score. If you did like this review, please like, comment, subscribe down below. Good luck with your search and hunt for this figure. Have a great one, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.